In this video, we're going to use half-angle formulas to find values of trigonometric functions. It says if sine theta is equal to negative 7 over 25 and theta is in quadrant 4, then what is cosine theta over 2? So we got a half angle here, so we need to use a half angle formula. Let's go ahead and write out what the half angle formula is for cosine. And it is equal to plus and minus root of 1 plus cosine theta over 2. Now, we're going to first write the quadrant 4 triangle, because you can see that we need to have cosine theta in here, and we don't have that. We have sine theta. So we're going to write that this is theta, quadrant 4. That'd be negative 7, 25. So if I go through and use the Pythagorean theorem, I get 25 squared equals negative 7 squared plus x squared. I'm going to call this x. So I get 625 equals 49 plus x squared. Subtract the 49 over, I get 576 is equal to x squared. Square root each side, I get 24 is x. So this is 24. So now I can say that I know cosine of theta is equal to 24 over 25. So I can use this formula now and say that plus and minus root 1 plus 24 over 25 divided by 2. I can start simplifying. And to simplify this, I'm going to end up with, this would be, let's cross this out and just say 25 over 25. Right, 1 is 25 over 25, so I end up with 49 over 25 divided by 2 inside the square root. So that's really 49 over 50 inside the square root. So I end up with, this would be, if I take the square root here and I simplify it, I end up with, oh, but I forgot the plus and minus for each of these. I'm going to write it here. I would end up with plus and minus 7 over, when I square root 50, I can write that as root of 25 times 2, which gives you plus and minus, root of 25 would be 5, so I get plus and minus 7 over 5 root 2. If I rationalize that denominator, I can multiply by root 2 over root 2, which I get plus and minus, that'd be 7 root 2 over root 2 times root 2 is 2, so I get 7 root 2 over, that'd be 2 times 5, which is 10. Now I got to figure out what quadrant this angle is in now. So it says, so basically if I have theta over 2, well, I started with theta being in quadrant 4, right? So we have theta in quadrant 4. So if I half a degree that is in quadrant 4, I'm going to end up in quadrant 2. Here's an example. Let's say I have 300 degrees, which is in, that's quadrant 4, and I divide it by 2. I get 150 degrees. Well, 150 degrees is actually in quadrant 2. And if you do that with any angle between 270 degrees and 360 degrees, all of those angles will end up inside quadrant 2. So that tells me that I need to look at quadrant 2. So I'm going to write that here, quad 2, and what the cosine value would be there. Well, in quadrant 2, cosine is negative. So actually I don't want plus and minus here. I'm going to say that this is actually equal to negative 7 root 2 over 10.